Hi everybody, and welcome to the module on unit testing. Now, before we get into unit testing itself, I just want to talk about automated testing in general, because I don't want you to leave the class thinking that unit testing is the only kind of testing there is. But I do want to mention the others. So automated testing is basically any sort of testing that is done by a computer rather than, say, a person on like a QA team. And the way that people think the best practice is for how many tests and what type of tests is the testing pyramid. And so at the top, we have end-to-end tests, and that's testing of a system from the beginning of the system to the end of the system. What that means is testing every piece of the system as a whole. So if we're talking about a bank system, maybe you're going on your bank's website to check your balance. The end-to-end would be literally from the front end of the browser and every aspect of what you see in the user interface to making transactions on that website, to send money or pay bills or whatever. Every aspect of the system from end to end. That's the idea, from one end of the system to the other, to make sure that a piece of functionality works. And it's a very difficult type of test to do because it's so thorough and so all-encompassing. Next, we have integration tests, and this is basically just testing chunks of the system in relation to each other. So maybe there's a new feature for being able to pay a bill online. Maybe they have a new online bill pay system, this bank that I made up, and they want to test to make sure that that integrates with their balance system, so that when you make a payment with your pay bill, it reflects in your bank account balance immediately. Something like that is basically testing that features integrate well together. So integration tests, they're easier than end-to-end tests, but they're slightly difficult and rely on multiple parts of a system. And then we get to unit tests, and the unit tests are at the bottom because they make the base of the pyramid. The idea is that unit tests are your foundation, and this is because these are a lot less burdensome to write because they only encompass small, tiny pieces of code, single functions most often. And so unit tests are a lot easier to do, and the most frequent type of test that a developer will do in addition to actually writing the code. Integration tests or end-to-end tests are usually reserved for special software developers called testing engineers, whose main job from morning to evening, their day-to-day job is to test software, versus a typical software developer whose main job is to write the software. But since unit tests are fairly simple to write and they're so tied to the actual implementation of the code, the small chunk of code, it's usually the software developer writing unit tests. And so this gives a big benefit overall in terms of over time, as you're writing a lot of code, you have all these unit tests that ensure that no piece of the code is broken as you keep going. Now, it doesn't guarantee, but it helps give confidence that you didn't break something, because you can run all the unit tests individually every time you want to do something. So before you even merge your brand new code to the code base, you can run all the tests to make sure you didn't break something. So there's a lot of automation revolves around passing all the unit tests before you can ship some code. So this is a good topic to get somewhat acquainted with, because no matter where you go, you will likely have to write unit tests of a sort. And while they're kind of different from language to language, the overall idea is not too difficult. So you could go to JavaScript. We're gonna we're going to have just testing. For Java, it's JUnit. Can't recall the other programming languages, but each have their kind of own testing libraries, and they all act very similar. So in the next video, we'll see how to use Jest and set up a quick testing framework, quick and easy. So thank you for watching.